Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Rick and Dave Real Estate Solutions podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dave Stein. I am a real estate agent, real estate investor, licensed in life insurance, and a commercial lender broker. I wear lots of hats, love every bit of it. Sometimes you just run out of time to do it all. But I'm joined by my co-host, Rick Boehm. Rick, take it away.
Hi, I'm Rick Wong. I own Enterprise Services, a commercial with Ocean View, also in Gator, and with Pace. And I'm here. We're here today with Regan Wong. And Regan, I think we met about a year ago, I think, and
At least a year, yeah.
we were both getting started, and we talked before Thanksgiving, and you were just investigating super creative started, and I said, we got to get you on podcast. Yeah, because I said you're doing something different than anything else out there. And so you're here today. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and then tell us a little bit what you're doing here.
Love to, love to. Yeah, well, thank you for having me on your show. It's exciting and thrilling. I shared with you guys my story earlier, but basically, I come from the finance world. So I'm a financial kind of guru guy in the real estate law world. And I also got an itch to actually be an entrepreneur. So I started my own sales company. Been doing both of them for the last 30 years now. And so the exciting thing is, probably about 2 years ago, I got the bug to start a second company, and I wanted to get back into real estate. Everybody knows how much I love real estate, and so I quickly joined the Gator community, joined the Sub 2 community, fell in love with everyone there, and started to find my niche. And what I stumbled on was auction.com. Got really excited about what all the properties that I saw that were available. And one of the things that's different is they're actually shifting away from your traditional way of buying foreclosures. Everybody thinks, oh, I got to get up in the morning, got to head over to the county courthouse and wait on the steps and sit all day to bid on properties. That's quickly changing because of companies like auction.com. So today, auction.com, their market share is about 65+%. They dominate the industry. At any given time, I've seen their list as high as 30,000 properties. And what's a cool feature about auction.com is they actually do remote bidding. So you can actually bid right at your computer. And what that does is now it's something that's scalable. So all you investors out there who actually invest in multiple states, you can actually acquire properties now in multiple states through companies like auction.com. What I wanted to do though is I wanted to get advanced, and I kind of wanted to be the expert auction guy for online auctions. So I went on this adventure and this journey. Got to know everything I could about auction.com. A lot of the reps we've become great friends. In fact, they tell me I'm on their VIP list. So that's really cool. And what I discovered along the way were all the different laws. Just so you guys know, there's what they call redemption periods. And that's what scares away a lot of investors from auction properties. And what a redemption period is, it's the states that want to give the homeowners an opportunity to get their properties back. Now, the risky side to being an investor is, if the redemption period is 6 months or 12 months, that means you can literally win a property. They can circle back and actually get their property back 6 to 12 months later. So I did extensive research on that. There's 23 states that are very friendly to investors, which is plenty. And it is all the major states are friendly, Arizona, Florida, California, New York, Jersey, Philly, Georgia. All of those are really, really great markets for auctions. And yeah, that's what I did.
Can you repeat that again? That is an important point you just made. There are some states where the home can be, even after being auctioned, can be reacquired by the owner.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Ever
the
do that?
homeowners, absolutely. Yeah. So states, they want to give an opportunity for homeowners to get their properties back. So what they do is if an investor wins a bid, and let's say that we win a bid today, today's January 8th, we win a bid today, we pay the money, we go into the home, we renovate it, we rent it out, and then 6 months later, if you're in the wrong state, the homeowner actually can actually come back and say, hey, you know what? I want to buy my property back. And the states give them the right to take the property back. And so investors shy away from that, right? Because they're like, I don't want to put the time, effort, and money into rehabbing these properties only to have the homeowner come back and take their property back.
Great, because
So
they're not paying you back, right? They're just paying like if it was back taxes or however they lost the property, that's what they're paying back.
exactly.
Yeah.
They refinance and they purchase the property back. So
Right.
there are many states where they're not, they don't allow that. And so or the redemption period is really short, or I happen to know a lot of states where it almost rarely never happens. Most homeowners, they lose their homes for a reason because they can't afford it. So in most cases it rarely happens, but I have to tell my clients that it's always a possibility. Yeah, so what I tend to
For
do
sure.
is I stay in the better states. Right now, and what I do is I provide updated foreclosure and REO list for my clients. And it's quite a lot of work. What's really cool is it is open to the public, yes. However, what I do is the research data that I accumulate, I call it a Ferrari. I like to think that, people basically I send them an updated list on a spreadsheet, and this thing hums. It allows you to sort by county, by city, by zip code. It allows you to sort by what I call a BTV, which is a bid to value ratio. And it's similar to loan to value ratio. And you can sort it by property. It has the images. I also actually provide links so that if they want to do further research and they want to see it on Zillow or Redfin or even Google Street, they can literally just click on it. It zaps them right over to the page and they're able to see the property so that they can actually do further research and analysis. So it's got some really cool bells and whistles to it.
So I have two questions that you spurred some thought on. Number one, you mentioned auction.com
Mm.
revolutionizing the way that auctions are done. Did you do any non-current technology auctions? Like, did you stand on the courthouse steps? Did you go through those harder times and now you're like, this is a dream.
As a matter of fact, I did. So I live in Southern California, in Orange County. So I actually visit a couple in Orange County. They do it in hotels. So they still do it, just to let you know. So they have what they
Mhm.
call in-person and remote bidding. So it's an and or. You could still go to the county court steps. You could still go to hotels, and they'll still run it. Auction.com does that. A lot of people do it. I actually enjoy it because you do some wonderful networking. I've met some really good investors that we've actually partnered together. One of the biggest challenges that I saw though was for for foreclosures was the fact that if you win a foreclosure, you literally have to pay for the property 100% of it on that same
Mhm.
day. Literally. So, for example, if you win a $250,000 bid, you're wiring them $250,000 that day. So what I saw was that's a challenge for a lot of investors,
Mhm.
the capital side. So I said, okay, that's that missing puzzle. Later on, what I discovered is for REO properties, because you're actually buying the properties from the banks actually do, it's more traditional. They'll open up escrow, you get title, in 30 days you're funding the deal. So of that pool, I would say there's about 3,000 REO properties available out there throughout the country. So, reach out to me because there's certain states and certain cities and counties that there's just a plethora of them. So, good example is like the Atlanta area. tons of REO properties. So that solved one problem, but as far as the financing side, I think I may have come up with a great solution for all my Gator lenders out there. So these are PML lenders who, they want to invest, but they want something more safe and more secure. There's a lot of risk that goes into lending properties for 6 months. You're also lending on the rehab and renovation costs. And the risk is, I'll tell you, I probably on all my friends, 8, 9 times out of 10, they get paid late. They don't get paid at all. Renovations, rehabs, there's problems that happen, and then they need extensions and things like that. So, a lot of people that I know, they just said it's a little too risky for them. However, what I discovered on this side is I think I think I came up with all the solutions where they can actually literally lend 30 to 60 days. They'll get paid back. Basically, essentially, this is not a rehab loan. This is a bridge loan. So it's short-term financing. They don't have to worry about the renovation. They lend the money as a bridge loan. The investor refinances, pays them off in 30 to 60 days, and it's a repeat recycle investing. Very slick. Yeah, and I think where we're looking at is about 20 to 25% ROI.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had mentioned a few things, Reagan. PML for audience, private money lender.
Mhm.
The risk that comes with that private money lending depends on position you're in, right? First position, second position. For those listening, if you're not sure, like if you have a mortgage on your house, the bank is in first position, everything else would be after that. But how, I guess, how did you come across this, or what was you saw the problem? Hey,
Yeah.
investors don't have a lot of liquid, hundreds of thousands of liquid cash ready to rock. What was what was the catalyst? Be like, how do we fix this? And then how'd you get to where you are now?
Oh, that's a great question. I am actually a PML lender myself. So I was lending my money. So I was learning very quickly about, the pros and cons of being a PML investors. Some of it good, some of it bad. I also did a lot of connecting. In fact, I think that's how Rick and I met. It was through connecting. So I meet a lot of investors looking for money, and I have a lot of capital resources that are looking to lend their money. And so I got to get really up close and personal with the PML lending world. And that's where, like I was telling you, I've run across a lot of friends who've lost a lot of money, um, just because it was just too risky. I share this story. A dear friend of mine, he got into the market. He wanted to test it, so he jumped in with another group of lenders, and he lent out. Hopefully, it's okay for me to say, but he lent out 75 grand, and he was supposed to be paid back in 2 weeks, and that was about 10 months ago. And
Oh,
so he's still waiting to get his money back. Now, the good thing is he's gotten back a portion. So the investor has not ghosted them.
mhm.
However, it just goes to show you, it's not a scalable business model. However, this one is. This is cookie cutter. You can constantly redeploy your money. You just if you want to put it in the bank, you say, okay, here's $1 million. And basically what we'll do is we cookie cutter the properties, meaning it's almost the same every time. You'll always be in a first lien position. Um, we won't purchase properties or bid on properties unless there's, I want to say, at least 20 to 30% equity in the property. So basically what I was able to do is check all the boxes. And I came back and said, would I lend on these deals? Absolutely. Is it less risky? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's less risky.
So Regan, I got a couple of questions here. First off, just so everybody is clear, are these all first lien? These loans that you the money you'd be providing to auction.com, these would be in a first position, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's going to be cases where maybe a property is being foreclosed on by the second lien holder. those are the properties we avoid, right? So what we'll do is while we're researching what properties we want to bid on, we'll actually, we'll do a preliminary title search and make sure that it's the first lender that's foreclosing. Now, most of the time it is. Now, if it's a second lender, we stay away from the property, period, because that means that the first is still due. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. So what happens now? I'm just running the question by, 'cause it's interesting to me. So if I, let's say, I've got a ML of $300,000 of money, and this is the house on First Street. That house on First Street is sold at auction.com. I would
Yeah,
essentially be using my money to initially pay for that house until the investor can wire their house, correct?
that's correct.
Now, what happens if that wire those funds? Am I all of a sudden, or maybe the house is, if I did I suddenly buy the house that do you know what I'm asking?
Uh, I'm trying, if I got your question clearly, usually what happens is a promissory note's created just like everything else. First lien position is locked in as well. So what usually happens is the lender will actually wire their funds to cover the property. A trustee takes the funds and then they actually start closing the deal, right? So they'll do a purchase agreement. They'll actually start drawing up the deed of trust. And then after about 30 days, that's when you usually get the keys to your property after about 30 days. So what that does is that gives the investor time to actually refinance the property. They get the property, they do an appraisal, they get a loan. Usually it encompasses the renovation loan, and then they're able to pay back the PML lender at that point.
If the investor backs out, what happens to the property, or what happens to the 100,000 in that example, the 100,000?
It comes back. It gets sent back. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a pretty clean business.
Okay. Very good.
So Reagan,
Yeah, yeah.
what I guess what's the timeline as far as when did you discover like this is the ticket that you're going to work on? And then have you executed it successfully for a month, 6 months? Like where are you
Mhm.
at in the scaling of this side of your business?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I actually the connection side, I probably really jumped into this. I'd say I probably did about a year's research, and then I jumped into it probably about 6 months ago. And so this journey took me on to building a client base and finding the right cities and states. I've actually bidded on a few properties myself to get the experience. Um, but I'm a systems guy. So anybody who knows me is I'm very systems oriented and I'm very structured. But I happen to have a personality too. So I love sales as well. But they know, so the system was easily placed in there. I'm working on with an integrator now to fully automate this. So eventually where we'll end up is we'll be able to provide lists, and then we'll do it like a subscription based model as well, where we can provide updated lists. So there's a lot of gadgets and gizmos to that. Where I'm at today is I have clients in Florida. I have clients in Philly. I have a client in Georgia. Um, uh, I have clients in California, and I have a client in Texas. So that's a pretty deep breath, and it covers a lot of really good states that I provide weekly lists for. And then basically, so what my company does is basically we sign an agreement. It takes us about a week to build a list for them. We build the list for them, and then we actually meet once a week for 30 minutes for the first 3 months, and we start developing a system and a plan. And I'll share with you guys. I actually haven't shared it with anybody yet, but there's something new going on, and it's only in two states. It's in Georgia and it's in Texas. So any investors for Georgia and Texas, you're in luck. Basically, what auction.com does is it's called Super Tuesdays, and so every first Tuesday of the month, they auction every single property in one day. So, for example, yesterday was Super Tuesday on January 7th. My email box was blowing up. So literally, I saw about 200 properties that just went into auction in one day.
That's
And
bonkers.
yeah, it's bonkers. But what's really cool about it is what I do is I work with seasoned investors. So these are investors who are doing multiple transactions per month. Some of them are doing 10 to 15 transactions per month. What we do is we're able to actually now set up a systematic model that's repeatable because we know exactly what day that property is going into auction. So basically we have a timeline. So beginning today, week 1, we start researching and choosing properties. Week 2, we start narrowing down the list. We'll do underwriting and review. We'll run comps. We'll select the properties and go a little bit narrower. By week 3, we're actually doing the final selection. And then week 4, prior to Super Tuesday, we're literally getting everything aligned. And what's a really cool feature that auction.com does is it's called set it and forget it. This allows me to actually bid on multiple properties the same day. This is really exciting stuff. So it's a repeatable system that I can build for my clients, and they could scale this. They could scale it. They can easily pick up multiple properties in one day.
That, so, so many thoughts going through, Reagan.
Yeah.
First of all, like Georgia and Texas, they aren't small states. So I imagine like this list is pretty lengthy. AI is super, super hot right now. And you mentioned systems. I'm curious if you use AI as part of your systems, or when you're working with the integrator, is that
Mm.
going to be is AI integrated into what you're looking to build?
100%. That's the plan. Yeah. So basically that'll allow me to scale it to multiple states as well.
Right.
So yeah. So right now the states that I'm currently in keeps me pretty busy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's definitely what we're working on now is to be able to automate it.
So Reagan, how customizable? You said you develop a list of homes for the purchase. You know, is it restricted just to basic square footage for beds baths, or does it include lot size? You know, rural versus urban. You know, population base. What all does that? You know, how customized?
Hey, that's another great question. Um, Maybe on another call I can actually share my screen and I'll actually show you, and we could take it for a spin. It's really really cool. So a lot of features. In fact, I'll look at one right now. Um, the first thing it allows you to do is you can sort this thing by new properties, properties that were sold, properties that are active. And then what I've done is I've actually created checkboxes for a watch list. So as you start to find your favorite properties, you just check a box. And then you can automatically sort it so that all you see are your properties that you're watching. And a lot of really cool added features that I've added for research. Another one is how many days has this thing been listed? If the property's been listed for 40, 50, 60 days, then you know you got somebody that's desperate. So there's a lot of really cool gadgets, and it shows the bidding dates. I'm looking at it now. Another cool feature that I do too is I'll put an estimated property value. So basically what we do is my team will actually we look at Zillow, Redfin, and we also look at auction.com. And whoever has the lowest estimated value, we put it there. So basically our clients are able to get a quick view of the estimated value of the property. And then what we do is we add what we call a max bid calculator there. where based on the estimated value of the property, they can estimate about how much they're willing to bid. It's a really cool feature. So let's say that they say, hey, we want to get this property 70 cents on the dollar. They can put in 70% and it automatically recalculates all the properties at a 70% loan to value, which is, it's a lot of really cool features. And then of course,
Super
you're
slick.
right. Yeah, it has all the normal data, the street address, the city, the county, the state. It has the square footage, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, size of the lot. Um, it's also got some really other cool features too, where oh, here's another one. Most properties are occupied. So if the property is vacant, it's noted. So if you only want to purchase properties that are vacant, you can actually sort the list and say, I only want to see vacant properties. Very cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of added bells and whistles to this. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time. And, but what's cool is my clients, because they're seasoned clients, their greatest asset is their time. And they're always looking for deal flow, but they just don't have the time, right? So if they're working with wholesalers or what have you. So here we actually literally partnered together and I do all the work for them. I just had a client the other day tell me, do you really do all this? And I said, I do. And he goes, wow, it's a lot of work. And it is a lot of work, but if you love what you're doing, then you love it. So other things that I do too is if I find that it's got pictures of the inside, I actually check a box. So if you're interested in a property and you scroll over and you're going, holy crap, there's actually properties, images of the inside of the property, then you can actually click on there and then go look at the inside of the property.
So that I was going to ask about that because they're bidding on property sight unseen, right? And what kind of is there for them that so that they don't walk in and what looks to be a solid floor is all of a sudden really spongy or whatever. What kind of protections are there, or is that part of the buying at a discount?
It's it's a little bit of both. I'd say it's kind of buying at a discount. Anybody who knows when they shop for a used car, it's very similar. You're not quite sure what's under the hood. But what I've learned is experienced investors, they know their stuff. So basically what they do is how they evaluate is they do a drive-by and they look at the exterior of the property. So they can look at the air conditioning unit, they can look at the roof and start making projections that way. Ultimately, what it comes down to is what they do is they assign a dollar per square foot for the property. So if they look at the exterior and they're like, wow, it's pristine. The landscaping is taken care of, everything is beautiful, the roof, it looks brand new. Then they know by estimation, there's a good chance that the interior is the same. Now, if it's a junkyard and it's got all this stuff, now they know the interior is probably just as bad as the outside. So usually as a rule of thumb, they'll on a good A plus property, maybe they'll put $50, $60 per square foot and that'll be their rehab cost. If it's a really, poor condition home, it can go up to $100 per square foot. And that's how they base their bid and how they want to bid, right? So if you look at it and you say, hey, this is pretty risky, I'll only get this property at 60 cents on the dollar. Now you can do that with the max bid calculator, you just adjust it to 60. And now you're saying, okay, that's how I protect myself.
Is this single family homes only, or is this duplexes also,
This,
or
this
small apartments?
95% of it are single family homes. Yeah. But hold on to your hat. I just talked to auction.com and they're actually about to get into commercial real estate, commercial properties. Yeah, so the opportunity is endless, guys. And for me, I believe the writing's on the wall. I do think we're going to see an uptick in foreclosures. I think it's coming. I do think there's a wave coming in. My indicator is more credit card debt and
Yeah.
people that are borrowing, and that's massively on the rise. So we have something cooking.
It's funny you say that, Regan, because Rick and I are business partners, and we're business partners with another gentleman named Chris Perez. And
Uh,
we like one of our sweet spots is helping folks that need to refinance as we see these balloon payments come due in the next few years, 5 years.
yeah.
I think you hear the same stat, probably 1.5 trillion of commercial real estate to come due in the next 5 years. Some of these folks won't be able to cut it with the interest rates or tax losses from COVID. So like we could also be your partner too on the finance side for these particular properties.
You could, yeah. And the beauty of that too is a lot of these banks, they're going to be in big trouble, right? And
Big time.
it's a commercial side, obviously, but
Yes.
banks also have they also own homes as well, right? So what's going to happen on the REO side is they're going to want to move their properties and recycle them quicker. And then for all the listeners out there as well, is auction REO properties on auction.com. Those banks, they're looking to relieve their inventory. They're not interested in the traditional way of hiring a real estate agent, put it on the market. Let's try to get the market value. So that's
Correct.
why people shy away from REOs. However, with auction.com, it's different. These banks, they're just like, no, let's relieve the inventory. So they're looking to just break even. I've even heard of cases where if you underbid and you don't meet what they call the reserve price, their break-even point, what happens is sometimes banks will actually revert back and say, hey, just let's take it.
No way.
Yeah, let's take it and let's get it off of our books. It happens. So, so investing in REO properties through auction.com is actually more beneficial because these banks are just looking to break even.
Well, we'll have to have a conversation, Regan, because one of our other sweet spots is bridge loan. And for
Oh
those
yeah,
properties, uh, we'll have to because this might be something.
absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to have that conversation. I'm always looking for capital partners. Um, so people could visit the site, so they could get more information, and anybody who's interested, if they want to know whether or not, I can provide lists for their particular area, I'm happy to do that.
You hit the nail on the head, and it's something that we talk about often, Regan, is there's just so much opportunity. And having that abundance mindset and knowing that like you're willing to share, like obviously you're running a business, but you're sharing
Yeah,
like, hey, here's the things that I'm doing. Just because they're like you couldn't do it all, right? There has to be other
you
players that
absolutely.
that's the beauty of the communities that we're in is it's like
Yeah.
let's have everybody win because there's just so much to go around.
Oh yeah. And that's why I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, 30,000 properties.
Right,
That
right.
that's an incredible number, and you're right, there's plenty to share around with it. And if we can create like I said, I'm a systems person, so my vision is to create a system where we have PML lenders who come in and they actually lend money to the investors, and the investors pay them back, and then we just recycle it. So it's a repeat, rinse, recycle system where we do that. Another thing that I'm committed to doing is for the PML lenders is I'm going to pre-screen the investors. So I only want to bring in seasoned investors. So that way, they have investors that are reputable, that they've been doing this all day long, so they can trust them when they lend their money.
For sure.
So yeah, lot of great pros and cons to this, but I
Rick, were you
love
gonna say
it.
something? Oh, I thought Rick was jumping in.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Regan. So if people want to get a hold of you, where do they go and how do they get in touch?
Pretty simple. Have them go to PSG auctionpartners.com. So it's P as in Paul, S as in Sam, G as in go, and auction partners, with an S at the end.com, psgauctionpartners.com. Yeah, head over there, go to the let's connect section and then reach out. If you ask for Regan personally, then I'll actually call you back personally.
I mean, I might just do it just so you call me back. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
personal guarantee right there.
Yeah. No, I tell people all the time, because I'm a little bit more seasoned in the business world, and I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and one of the things that I've learned is it's also about giving back, and anybody who knows Pace Morby, that was one reason that I fell in love with him, is because I'm the same way. I think that it is about giving back. It's not about hoarding. There's tons out there we could share. And definitely in the auction world, there's tons we could share. Yeah, I'd love to help everybody in every single state.
That'd be sweet. Well, okay. So now you say that, the trigger word, we're in North Dakota. Rick and I are based out of North Dakota.
Okay.
Have you done any work in North Dakota yet?
Unfortunately, I have not, but I'll definitely take a look. In fact, I got to tell you, I actually had somebody have me look in Baltimore.
Okay.
So all you people in Maryland, Baltimore is a great city. So
really? Okay.
yeah, so North Dakota, I will look up for you guys and I'll let you guys know what's out there.
We understand if there's not. We're a little less populated than some of the other states you mentioned, but that would be sweet. It would be sweet if we could be a catalyst, help you be a catalyst to get to all 50 states.
I'd love that opportunity.
Yeah.
So.
Rick, how do folks get a hold of you?
My best way to get a hold of me, my phone number up on the screen, but I didn't. 701-250-5394. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. Enterprise Services is my commercial lending. I've also got a website. Come give me a call, the appointment. We'll sit down. We'll talk. Dave, how about you?
Fantastic. Well, if you're watching on your phone, you obviously can't scan this, but you can scan this code. There's my Instagram above. Sometimes my number pops up on the screen, but social media is the easiest way to get a hold of me, at DaveStein29 on all your major social media platforms. Regan, we can't thank you enough. I think what you're doing is going to be not only super critical in the next 5 years, but I think it's super, super powerful, that both for those that need to get out from underneath properties and those that are looking to invest, I think it's going to be a huge, huge asset.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time.
Anytime.
Rick and Dave podcast. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Take care.